on the 5.
Asa Lecce? Carl Merkel?
Here.
Ace is coming in right now.
Kate Murphy?
Here.
Mitch Patton? Here. Jennifer Riddle?
Here.
Rudy Salakori? Andrea I always get this wrong. Andrea Summer. My apologies. Summer, I will get it eventually. Thank you. Pamela Dween.
Pamela also declined.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, we do have a quorum, so we'll move forward. We will start with the approval of the July 2024 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes.
We just can't.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second Asa.
Thank you. Any discussion? Not hearing any, I'll move forward with the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. July 24 minutes are approved. Not quite sure what this next item is
I can
following.
follow up on that.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so the next item we have for RAB business is just coming back to a few items that were requested in previous meetings. Last meeting, Oregon Health Authority had presented on the Bonneville Resident Fish Advisory. There were several follow-up questions on that particular presentation. The answers to those questions were captured in an email that was sent, it was last week I sent out to voting and non-voting RAB members. And additionally, there was information added to, this is just incorrect in the slide, we've added to the July meeting minutes. After this meeting, we'll make a post note to edit that to July, make sure that that's all correct. And after this meeting, oh, excuse me, I'm brushing past anything. No, I think the other regarding public comments on the FFA, so I'll let UPA talk about that one. We also talked last time about doing member training that is scheduled for after this meeting, so we'll be doing a fairly short meeting this time. We'll try to stick to 30 minutes if we can to give the members plenty of time for any questions that they have and plenty of time to take in the training. Next slide, please. Before we dive into the project updates, EPA, do you have any FFA updates that you'd like to share today?
We are still working on our responsiveness summary for the FFA. That will be shared with the Corps and with the states, and then we will have our responsiveness summary in return or in response to the public comments on the FFA. No other updates.
There was a, so I wanted to go back to a question that came up last time. There was the request if it would be possible to see raw, I think they would, raw public comments was the exact phrasing of that, if I remember correctly. Is there any updates or any further information you can share about that?
The last that I had checked, and Rich can jump in if he knows more, but it's still going through our PII scrubbing process. And PII, so I was caught doing that acronym recently. Personal identifying information, basically like scrubbing of people's personal details. So it's still going through that EPA process.
Is the intent after that to be able to release public comments minus identifying information?
That is the intention, and for them to be on the website and like I said, I'm advised that it's not normally what ETA does, but, directly in response to folks on the RAB wanting to have that information, we are going to provide that.
Do we have any questions or follow from the RAB regarding FFA?
I guess the one question I have is it still on schedule as when it was set in motion to be, or has it been drug out more months now than what was projected?
I mean, I think the schedule on the FFA has changed a number of times through its development. In terms of the response.
So from the, I'm stumbling a little bit here, but as far as I understand, this has not been pushed out, beyond what was projected.
Is there like a, I heard in that first RAB meeting I listened to just again today, but they had talked about like, I don't know if it's a work schedule or a process schedule or something that was gonna try to be put together so that you kind of see where we're going and where we should meet some of these.
We've talked a bit about schedule through other meetings, so not knowing exactly which meeting you're referring to, it's hard to say
Yeah.
that we definitely like.
But I mean, it seemed like the way when I was listening to that one in March of 23 was brought up something about, coming up with a plan basically that says, these are our goals, this is where we want to be, this is where we need to be. Is there anything like that ever been built or no?
Yeah, definitely. We have gone through, especially from that meeting that long ago, yeah. I believe it was in that summer of 2023 where we first kind of talked schedule with the RAB and what those big goalposts were and when we projected to be hitting them. That information is also captured in the site management plan. That one captures for all the major milestones of the certain project. It captures all of those and what we project it to be. It's updated annually, so it is this living document, but it's available.
And that's on Army Corps page or EPA's.
I believe, let's see, trying to think where we release, I'll have to get back to you on where we release that exactly, but it gets captured into the administrative
You
records.
just send me the link to it.
And yeah, we'll actually go through during training where to find the administrative record.
Okay.
Any other FFA comments, questions before we move on? All right, so I'll dive right into talking about project updates. So starting with the upland operable unit, the quality assurance project plan for the supplemental remedial investigation is still in review. We should be getting some comments back from regulators and tribes at the end of the month. For the non-time critical removal action, we are developing that engineering evaluation cost analysis. This is a document to justify the removal action on the upland area. Moving on to our next slide, we get into the river operable units. Under phase one of the supplemental remedial investigation, we're starting to plan out that next mobilization for this October. At that point, we'll be collecting some sediment traps and deploying new current meters and sediment traps out to the field. That's going to capture the spillway closed conditions of the river. And for phase two, we actually did just get those phase one results back in mid-July, and so we're able to start work back on our phase two work plan. Next slide, please.
Okay, audio check.
I was gonna say, is someone there?
Yeah, I don't know if it lost audio or muted all that in, but at the start of this slide, it cut out.
Okay, thank you.
All right, can you hear us now?
I can hear you. I
Yeah.
can now.
Yes.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Thanks for everyone's patience on that. So jumping back into our project updates on the Cascades Island preliminary assessment. We're still finalizing our responses to comments to regulators and tribes who reviewed that product. On the revised site management plan, we did get our comments from regulators and tribes back at the end of July. And we're working on the responses to those comments now. On the community involvement plan, not much to update here, still working on getting some additional comments that were provided, worked into that plan. With all the other things we have going on unfortunately, our community involvement plan's been a little slower going than we'd like. But that's all for the purposes of making sure our technical products all stay on track. And then some good news to share, a memorandum of understanding has been developed with the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Bond. And is now being routed for signature with all the parties, so that includes the Grand Ronde, EPA, and the Corps. And essentially just documents very meaningful participation from that tribe in the circle process. Any quick questions before I move on to the last bit of project updates? Anything in the chat so far? Let's move right along to the next slide. So it's talking about the rest of our community involvement updates. Our resident fish advisory brochures have been printed. We're currently in the process of distributing all those. Oregon Health Authorities received all their printed materials, so their paper printed materials. Additionally, Multnomah County was one of the partners that's helping with the distribution of that. They've also gotten theirs. Washington Department of Health, we're still working on getting them theirs. Our contact for Washington is unfortunately not local like everybody else. So we're getting all that wrapped up for them and ready to ship out. Additionally, we have some metal and PVC posters, some 12 by 19 and some larger ones that are being printed. I believe on that one, we just made the order to start getting those printed. And then we've also been working the posters for the visitor center. So we can now say that all the posters have been finalized. We incorporated the last round of comments. Some of those comments will go on website if we don't have room to incorporate, but I believe all the final comments from OHA got incorporated, and I believe at that point we've addressed all the comments from the RAB as well. So for anyone in the room, you're welcome to take a look at the printed posters that we brought with us. For the voting and non-voting RAB members, we emailed PDF copies of those, so those are available for you. And of course, you're welcome to distribute PDF copies if you like, if you have use for those electronic copies. And additionally, OHA has lots of copies in multiple languages of the fish advisory on their website as well. If anyone's needing that website, I think we've provided it before, but if anyone's needing, we're happy to provide it again. From here, now that we've got the posters wrapped up, we're going to be working on getting those printed out and established into our visitor centers. And we'll also be switching our focus over to developing more content for the Bradford Island website. There was a lot of comments that we were provided, a lot of ideas we were provided for these posters. We couldn't get on to the posters themselves, but the website is gonna be a place that we can capture lots more information. So we can continue to be public, so hopefully as much information on the project as they'd like. I believe that's it for our project updates. Any questions or comments from the RAB? Any questions or comments from public members? Members of our community? All right, we can move right along. So we distributed a poll to see if there were, if there's any feedback about the format of meetings or how the meetings are going for folks. We did get 7 responses on that. We would have loved all 100 folks to email them to take the poll, but such is life. But we did get some good information from those folks. One of the questions that was asked was how folks are attending the meeting. So are they attending it online? Are they attending it in person? Or are they doing both? I think it's probably not a surprise to anyone that most folks are attending online. But there continues to be some folks that want to attend specifically in person. For frequency, we asked folks to rank basically what their preference was. We gave them options of monthly, every other month, quarterly, or 3 times a year. The most popular option chosen was every other month. Quarterly and monthly were tied for second. So folks don't want to make this a very small frequency meeting. Folks are generally most interested in keeping it either monthly, every other month, or so. Still a decent drumbeat. I think that's all the information we've really got in the poll. Are there any questions? Okay, we can move along to our last slide, or maybe next to last slide. So going back to our July minutes, it didn't look like we had voted for anything September or beyond. So we've, tentatively put it in the course books that we could host a meeting in September. And at this point, we'd like to get feedback from the RAB on when they'd like to schedule the next meeting.
I think there was consensus to keep it monthly until the board was set, which we're now at 11. I think we're set for the most part, and the minimum number we were looking for, and we were all kind of up to date. I think it's a lot to take in for new people, so that's why we're having this training tonight as well. I would suggest, we have the training tonight, we have a meeting September, and then based off information provided, we move to every other month after that. So November and then January. That's my suggestion. Open to any other feedback.
I'm just wondering, is there any information that is projected that would be coming up on that off month of October? This would be kind of set schedule that maybe we should hold a meeting because of those reasonings rather than go to every other. I mean, if there's nothing happening, we may as well do it quarterly.
I'm just trying to think of what we've got coming up. If we had something for the RAB to review specifically in October. Nothing specific coming to mind. Let me check in real quick with Jackie though. Jackie, do you have anything that you can think of that we would specifically want to present in October?
October, we may be at the point of presenting what's in the work plans, if depending on how our resolution of comments goes with the regulators.
Yeah. And something we can do is, if we think there's something really critical for the RAB in an off month, we can, there's a couple items we can do. We can request to have a kind of a more ad hoc meeting at sort of our regular time, but off of a monthly or quarterly drumbeat. We can also send out, we've done before a project status, like a written project status that provided folks, information about what was going on. Those are better for not like a briefing of something like what's in a work plan or what's in like an investigation, but providing the general status, kind of like what I did today.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
so, yeah, if we had something like this, but at the end of the month, when we get all of the regulator and tribal comments, we'll be able to look and kind of see, how much effort, how much time we're going to think to resolve the comments. So potentially in August, we could be presenting on what's in the work plan for the Upland SRI.
In October.
Yeah.
So you're thinking the end of August, you would have information that we could see in the September 10th meeting, and then October is kind of a dead month, and then schedule for November 12th? That works for me.
We can also follow up, the court can follow up in September, whether we think, it would be feasible to present on that work plan as early as October, or whether November is more likely. It is always really hard to say without getting input from our partners.
So Jordan was saying that skip September, but then have it in October, or did I get that backwards?
No, the other one. So we do September, skip October.
Okay, yeah.
And do November.
Yeah, so then what she's just talking about is if we have it in September, that information may not be ready, but it surely would be ready by November.
More likely, we have a bet, but it wouldn't be,
Yeah, because the 10th is pretty short notice if you get the information in August to have something prepared.
Yeah, November is more likely time that we'd be able to come back with a presentation on that.
Yeah. And that's really the only thing that's kind of on my plate right now for as far as.
That's definitely the soonest for providing like, something
Substantial information.
specifically, yeah, substantial and related to our civil activities.
That would work for me.
I guess at this point, I'll entertain a motion to move to meetings every other month, starting in September, with the option of calling a meeting in the off months if necessary.
Can you just say so moved?
Yeah,
Yes.
so moved.
Andrea will second.
Any further discussion? All right, not
This is
hearing any,
Kate.
I'll call.
Sorry,
Go ahead, Kate.
I just want to maybe at some point clarify how we would establish whether we're calling for an off month meeting, and like what would, constitute grounds for that happening, just so we know who has is that something that the RAB decides? Is that something the core decides? Anyway, I think getting some clarification on that, but other than that, I have no opposition.
I think it could be either. I think it could be either way, Kate. If the core had something where we feel that, we need to present this to the RAB, in a timely manner, and we may ask for an ad hoc, but the RAB members yourselves may determine that you want to do an ad hoc. So I think either is appropriate to request an ad hoc amongst the group. Anytime the RAB members decide to call an ad hoc meeting and the RAB all agrees, the core will do it.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
And not an attempt as a power grab, I think those should be coordinated through the co-chairs, so it's not.
Yes.
14 members trying to go back and forth to set up a meeting.
Yeah, agree.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, motion passes. Starting in September, Bradford Island RAB meetings will meet monthly or every other month, skipping October and December.
Great. Great, thanks for your thoughts on that one. Potential topics for the future. So the one that we're continuing to carry forward as a new business topic would be talking about next steps in the project once the FFA is in effect, Federal Facility Act. This kind of goes back to your question, Mitch. This is another opportunity where we may talk more about the schedule and the different milestones that we have coming up, what kind of work feeds into all of this. And of course, we talk about more of that at training today too.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe that takes us to the end of our agenda. The book is exactly 30 minutes, amazing. All right,
All right, do you want to open up for any general comment?
yeah, let's go ahead and open up for any general comments.
Any RAB members have any general comments or concerns they want to bring up now? Any general public? All right, not hearing any, we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting and move into a training session. Do we vote? I can never remember.
We do a motion and a second.
Okay, I don't know why I was forgetting that. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Just saying that.
I guess so motion. You second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, meeting adjourned at 5:30 PM. Our